So what do we have here, you guys? I'm gonna be making my Panamanian fruitcake. Yep, well, I said my Panamanian fruitcake, but this is gonna be my mother's fruitcake recipe mixed with my Auntie Bruni's fruitcake recipe. All right, let's get started. This is my mother recipe book that she wrote for me as a gift. Okay, this is my mother's recipe for the dulce de frutas. We're gonna be using half of this jar of minced meat, and then we have some gold medal flour there. I've already taken out the quantity that I'm going to be using, and I measured 8 cups, but usually it takes me about 7.5 cups. It just depends. I've already sifted the flour twice, which is my mom's instruction. And then what else I have 6 eggs here. Then I have half a cup of brown sugar, 3 tablespoons of baking powder, 1 pound of raisins, and this is 1 pound of the crystallized fruit that I also had. Both of these ones are a year old. This is half a cup of walnut, and what I did, I just processed them. I just threw them in the fruit processor to grind them a little bit. We're going to be using 4 sticks of margarine, and here I have a cup and a half of water, 3 tablespoons of vanilla, and 1 teaspoon of almond extract. Here I have 2 tablespoons of cinnamon powder, 1 teaspoon of nutmeg, and half a teaspoon of cloves. This little bowl, I have 1 tablespoon of this Concord grape jelly, 1 tablespoon of this strawberry fruit syrup. I have 2 tablespoons of sweet orange marmalade. I think that's how you say mermelada, marmalade. And I have 1 teaspoon of molasses. Let me see what else is on the recipe. The recipe says that you can use a cup and a half of water or a cup and a half of grape juice. In my baking powder, I also added 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. And this is what I'm going to be using for baking my cakes. I got these ones from the dollar store. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to start preparing my pans, and I'm going to do these little ones first, and then I'll do the other ones that I showed you earlier. And I'm going to just go ahead and spray them with this butter flavor cooking spray, and then flour them. And they sell this Baker's, I think it's called Baker's Joy. So you don't have to do all of this, but I don't have that. So I'm gonna just do it the way I learned. Okay, so all of our pans are ready. I'm gonna go ahead and move them to the main table so that I can start mixing. So into the food processor, I'm going to go ahead and add all of my raisins. And all the wine. I'm going to just go ahead and pause this for a few minutes. I don't want to puree them. I just want to chop them up a little bit. You don't have to do this step. I just like it. It's just a personal preference. You can leave the fruits whole or you can mince them. It's just up to you. Okay, that should be enough. You're gonna get some pieces of fruit that is not going to be minced, and that's still okay. Back to the same bowl. Just the raisins alone, you guys, with this wine, it already smells like fruitcake. It already smells like Christmas. This is a must-have. Most Panamanian houses, you're going to see fruitcake in their house. Alright, so let's go ahead and start creaming our butter. And again, I have 4 sticks of margarine, and this is room temperature. So I'm going to go ahead and add all 4. Okay, so now that we have our butter there, I'm going to go ahead and bring this up. And we're going to be mixing this with the sugar. I'm going to go ahead and add all my sugar. We're gonna paddle this for about 6 minutes on speed 6. I just like to feel it with my fingers to make sure I don't feel any sugar, and I don't. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do now, I'm gonna start adding my eggs one by one. Here I'm going to go ahead and add my diced fruit and all of the wine that was with it. I'm also going to add, well, those were the raisins, so these are the fruit. I'm also going to add the jam, strawberry, all of the sweet stuff. Now, if you're using white sugar, you can use white sugar, but then you have to caramelize. You have to caramelize your sugar. So that's why I'm adding molasses instead. Okay, so to that I'm going to use half a jar of minced meat. Grab a spoon. That's about half a jar. My vanilla and almond extract. And I'm going to go ahead and mix all this together. Now to the almonds, what I'm going to do, I'm going to throw the almonds here with a little bit of flour, and I'm going to mix them with some flour before adding them into the into my mixture. Hey, sorry you guys, I thought I had my microphone on, but it looks like I stopped it. But anyway, so basically what I did, I added my walnuts, and I added, I don't know where the thing cut off, but I added my walnuts, and I also added the mixture of the butter with the eggs and the sugar. Now we're going to start incorporating the dry ingredients into my flour. I'm going to go ahead and add my salt and my baking powder, and nutmeg, cloves, and cinnamon. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and add our flour to our wet ingredients, and we're going to add them 1 cup at a time, and we're just basically folding them into the wet ingredients. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Oh man, the smell. I can't wait. Yep. Okay, so it's starting to take the consistency that we need. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and mix in a little bit of the water. The depending on your stove, you might want to preheat your oven before you start mixing in the flour. My oven preheats very fast, so by the time that I finish mixing this and filling my molds, the oven will be ready, probably even before then. So at this point, all I'm doing is just checking at the bottom to make sure that there's no flour at the bottom that has not been mixed in properly. Oh my goodness, this smells so good. Okay, so this is good. This is the consistency that we need. So with these smaller pans, what I do is I put them on these baking sheets, and that way they don't tip over. See, my oven is already warm and I'm still trying to fill up my pans. I'm gonna go ahead and fill them like 3/4 of the way. This is a very dense type of cake. It's like a cake and a bread at the same time. I don't know if that makes sense. If this is going to be your first time making the cake, what you can do is, if you're not sure of the consistency of the batter, you can go ahead and make one where you think the consistency is okay and see how it comes out, and then adjust your batter if you need to. And then what I like to do is tap them down. Let me do it on this side. Okay, so our oven is ready, so let's go ahead and put them in. For these cakes, if you want them to have a more dense consistency, then you will add less baking powder. And just like that, our Panamanian fruitcakes are ready. Now, there's an additional step. It's not required, but it's in one of the recipes that I combined. So I'm going to go ahead and add it. And this is basically a glaze. The glaze is made with strawberry jam and strawberry syrup. You melt it together until it's clear like this, and then you add it to the top of your cake. Again, this is not a requirement. This is in one of the recipes that my mom made. I don't see a whole lot of people giving their fruitcake recipe away because this is a tradition, and a lot of people actually back home make their living making fruitcake. So of course they don't want the competition to have the recipe, but we are overseas, so I'm of the opinion of sharing the recipe. So I combine all 3 recipes into this one recipe. Now I'm not going to put the glaze on all of them, just a few. So if somebody say, oh yeah, this is my recipe, and they come out with the same exact ingredients, lie. Because I just mixed 3 different recipes to make this one. But anyway, we're still sharing, right? If you want your fruitcakes to be more dense, just have less flour and less baking powder. So my apologies for the delay on getting this video out to you guys. Actually ended up having to make a different batch because all my friends came to pick up their tamales and they took all my fruitcakes. I have one left. I didn't even get a chance to give any to my neighbors. So this one's right here, I made a smaller batch, and this right here is going to be just for me, for my family, for the years. I'll have to figure out what I'm going to give to my neighbors now. Don't say nothing, please. I'll promise you guys. I know you're watching, so I'll make you something different that is going to be just as delicious, but you ain't going to get my fruitcake this year. Anyway, all right, so let's take a look. All you got to do is just kind of stick your knife there a little bit and it will come loose. Ooh-wee. Let's take this cake. I'm gonna right in the middle. And there you have it. Here's our Panamanian fruitcake. Now for the taste. All right, let's give it a try. It has a taste. Sorry, you guys, my apologies. I had to pick up that phone call. But yes, so the texture is perfect. It's the way I like it. It's spongy, kind of sort of. It has a texture more of like a thick banana nut bread, kind of sort of. I would say that maybe next time I would add, instead of water, I would add the grape juice. It asks for grape juice or more wine, and I added water. So probably next time I will just follow the recipe and add, you know, either the grapefruit or the grapefruit or the wine. But other than that, sorry, I'm being a little piggy here. This is one of the things that I love making during the holidays because it takes me back home. It takes me to my family. It takes me to my neighborhood. You know, and it has so many beautiful memories. I only make it once a year, and I keep it in the freezer. If you're gonna make this fruitcake for your holidays, what you want to do is leave it outside. You will wrap it in wax paper and then wrap it in foil. It will stay good for a month at room temperature. Now, if you want to freeze it long term, you're going to have to take it out of the pan. Okay, you take it out of the pan, and then you wrap it in wax paper. Then on top of the wax paper, you wrap it in foil, and then you put it in the freezer. And then, you know, if you want to, you can put it on Ziploc bags as well if you want to preserve it a little bit more. And then if you freeze the cake and you leave it for several months in your freezer and you take it out, once it's completely thawed out, what you want to do is just sprinkle a little bit of wine just to moisten it a little bit, and I'm telling you, that thing will be like on point. But anyway, so I hope you like this video, and if you have been watching us for a while but you have not subscribed, please consider subscribing to our channel. It will really help us a lot. It will help us to grow. Please give it a thumbs up, and consider sharing it with your friends and family members. So thank you. Until next time, may the Lord bless you, may the Lord keep you, is my prayer. I wish all of you a very, very happy Christmas. Thank you. In order for you to have a delicious Panamanian fruitcake, you need to make sure that your fruit are marinated in wine or in brandy. So these 4 ingredients that you see here are your red cherries, then you have your green cherries, and you have the pineapple. But we need to convert this into this. These are all of the fruits. So basically what you have to do, you have to get your food processor, and you're going to mince all of this fruit. And then once you mince them, you're going to add them into a jar, and then you're going to cover them with a sweet red wine. Okay? Now for your raisins, you're going to grab these raisins. In order to get this, you're going to grab these raisins, and you're going to cover them with the same red wine or with brandy. I have this leftover brandy from Thanksgiving because I made some surra. Surra is basically sangria when you add liquor. Okay, so if you add liquor to sangria, it's no longer sangria, it's surra. Okay, so I have this leftover, and what I'm going to do, I have my raisins here, and I'm just going to cover them with this brandy. And you don't have to pour the whole bottle, okay? So you just pour some of it, and then you grab your lid. Let me see if I can tie it. Okay. All you have to do is leave it like that for 1 month. Then comes January, you flip it and you leave it like that for another month. Then February, you do the same thing, and every month you rotate it until you get to December. So by the time December rolls around again, then you will have something like this. Now let's go ahead and work on the other fruit, and let me show you what to do with that. Now into your food processor, you're going to go ahead and add all of your fruit, but don't throw away this, because they actually have some delicious recipes. They actually bring 2 recipes. Then you also have a coupon if you want to go purchase more. So go ahead and pour your fruit. Now you go ahead and add some brandy, and you don't need to put a whole lot, just a little bit to help them mix. Okay, so let me check. Okay, so it just needs a little bit more. Some pieces are big, some pieces are small, so I'm just gonna pulse it just a little bit longer. And now all you have to do is just transfer your fruit into your mason jar. And depending on the quantity that you're going to make, you might need more than one jar. Now there are different recipes of how to make fruitcake. This is the way my mom used to make it. So let me tie it really quick. I'm going to have to get somebody to help me because this hand is still giving me problems. So I'm trying my best. Okay, and then you're going to do the exact same thing with this. You know, this month you leave it like this. Next month you grab it and you turn it. You know, and then you do the same thing for February. You turn it back up and you do it like that. You rotate it at the same time that you rotate your raisins. Now we all live very busy lives, and it's easy to forget that these jars even exist. Just keep them in a dark place. I keep mine in the little cabinets there are right above the microwave, and I have a monthly reminder on my phone to remind me to turn them, because if not, I'll forget that they're there. So you don't have to turn them if you don't want to, but that is the way that my mom used to make it, so I'm used to doing it that way. But the only thing that can help me to remember is that calendar on my phone. Now for the crystallized fruit, you might want to wait like a week before Christmas before you buy them, if you're not going to make the cake this year, of course. But if you want to buy extra to make for next year, I suggest you wait maybe about a week before Christmas, and then you go to Walmart or any grocery store that might sell them, and then you buy them when they're on clearance.